The Secret Life of God, David Aaron. God experiences everything we do, including financial loss. God is always on your side. Plato, Aristotle, and Cicero all held that God doesn't think about mundane matters. The world of truth is the complete opposite to this one. Nietzsche held the belief that the entirety of reality is working through you is what gives life meaning. God is the absolute reality who was, is, and always will be. Baruch Spinoza says nature is God. It wasn't created, it always was. Hitler admits the Jews gave the world a conscience. It was predestined that man would sin. It was a setup regardless of Adam and Eve's choice. We can tell that the things in our lives are not by chance. The divine presence is the feminine manifestation of God. We are a vehicle for the expression of the author in the story. Life is both the paradox of monologue and free choice. Here's proof from scripture that there isn't free will. God created space and therefore is not bound to its laws. When we say God is one, we really mean God is non-dual. The divine presence is the femininity and the indwelling spirit. The truth about the feminine side of God was only passed down by mouth. Only later was it discussed in public. The purpose of this was to counteract the arrogance of the day. Author believes it would have led to the trap of pantheism. God has no parts, we're not unifying God. Spiritual work is epistemological, not ontological. God's oneness is the ultimate experience of love. God both knows and does not know that he is one. It goes beyond the logical mind. Sexuality without love is not true intimacy. To reflect God is to serve God. Surrender to God is like the Mobius strip. On one moment you're on the outside, then you're on the inside. The process of God is oneness becoming conscious. Shekhinah is the origin of our self-esteem. People used to believe they were either gods or nothing. Transcendence and immanence were mutually exclusive. Either we do whatever we want or we sacrifice everything for the greater whole. Kabbalah teaches you only gain true wisdom through humor. The Psalms teach the Messianic age is a time of laughter. Elijah the prophet in Tikkun Zohar says God is one, but not in number. God is beyond the duality of opposites. He is thus one and many. In love, two can be one and yet two. Only love is real and everything else is an illusion. The commandment to love everyone is telling us to realize that we are already one, and one with God. Four-world. Zilus is the non-reality and the other worlds are perceptions of reality. Reality is much more than we see. The dots, two circles, or a donut. Some say there are 26 dimensions to reality. The world of emanation is God's perspective at Zilut. Pantheism is that God equals the universe. Panentheism disagrees that we are God. Mono, panth, and poly. Love is 1 + 1 = 1. The annihilation of self-consciousness is joyous and liberating. In the Garden of Eden, they had no shadows because their bodies were of light. Only love is real in the highest reality. Zoma couldn't handle the contradiction of independent reality. Claims that Elisha ben Nehuya became a pantheist. If he did, he was the first Jew to ever come across the truth. Embrace it without turning away the truth. Monotheism only gave part of the picture. You need it with panentheism to value the laws, referring to prior to the Messianic age. The author believes a panentheist needs to pretend he's a monotheist. The problem with monotheism is it creates a battle between deity and servant. No matter where you go, you'll always end up in the right spot. As a source of space, it can't confine or define God. Author implies with the right brains we can understand God. They're saying we simply don't have the hardware to understand. Most dangerous teaching in my opinion. We should be used like God, like utensils. Because it reinforces sadism. As it is, society functions very sadistically. It's probably created by this mentality. Judeo-Christian. I recommend 75% of this book's ideas for enhancing your own. But be extra discerning. Music leads to prophecy. We all have the capacity to know God through prophecy. Our mission is to understand that we're one with each other and one with God.